Thank you very much. All right. So now, yeah, well, let's get it going on. All right. We're going to switch up the pace of the show right now. We're going to get involved with the religious side of the debate. So I'm going to welcome Megatron onto the platform right now. Okay, Megatron, set pace. I'm going to ask you to set pace.
I'm going to
So, right, if we're talking about whether the crucifixion ever happened, it's almost a pointless debate. Every single scholar, every single ancient historian of ancient antiquity believes that the historical Jesus of Nazareth was crucified under Pontius Pilate. It's not even up for debate. Professor Robert Funk from the notoriously liberal Jesus Seminar, and the Jesus Seminar, one of their premises is extreme naturalism. They don't allow any miracles or anything like that. He said that the crucifixion of Jesus is an indisputable fact of history. So it's not even up for debate. If we're going to debate that, we might as well debate whether the earth is round, whether the Battle of Hastings took place, whether the Holocaust ever happened. So the very fact, if there are going to be any Muslims here and you're going to quote Surah 4:157, I couldn't care less. That is historically untrue. And from my perspective, if God is all-knowing and the Quran is the eternal word of God that exists alongside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why is there a historical error in the Quran?
Jeez. Okay. He started off like that. So I'm going to welcome in all my Muslim subscribers in. If you guys would like to have a conversation with brother Megatron, brother El Burakatali, I believe that's the right way of saying his name. I might be wrong. Come in, okay? Come in. I'm late. It's late right now. I'm getting tired. So if you're not trying to come in, it seems as though my Christians has just won the debate already, okay? Jesus Christ got crucified. Don't know what the hell you lot are talking about. Get out of here with all of that nonsense. Is that what it's going to be? Or you're not going to come on and say, no, fam, Ya Allah says in his glorious Quran that Jesus Christ was not killed nor crucified.
I believe in the Quran. I believe in the Quran, but I want to say that being a Sikh, I believe in the Quran because I believe that one man is like equal to the whole of humanity. I believe there's no God but the God, and I believe that Prophet Muhammad was the last and final prophet and messenger from the lineage of Adam. We have our own Adam. Our Adam starts from our gurus. It's a miraculous book and it's preserved. And to Megatron, I want to say if he believes that crucifixion means being put on a cross, then cool, maybe he was put on a cross, but to say that he died on a cross, that you can't prove that, and we don't have much historical records about that. It's disputed. Okay, and there's a historical record saying that he died in India. Thank you, man.
Jeez. All right, hold your thought right there.
That he died in India. Are you sure he didn't die in Mars?
Megatron. Hold your voice right there. So I want to know, who else is on the panel that does not believe that Jesus Christ got crucified? Okay, who else is on the panel? I don't want to hear nobody come on else. Okay, except from those who do not believe that Jesus Christ got crucified. So open up your mics if you believe he did not get crucified.
I believe he was crucified, but I don't believe he died on the cross.
Okay. So, all right. Anybody else that holds a similar view? No. So we've got Buddha. We've got Buddha. Who else did we have over here? We have Harkirat. So we've got a Buddhist. We've got a Sikh. Okay. Who's arguing against Christians whether Jesus Christ did die on the cross or not. Okay, so I was expecting we're going to have some Muslims to come on and argue this point. It seems not. So I don't know what's wrong with you guys. The email address has been dropped so many times. Ooh, there's a few other people likes to come on. Okay, we'll see what we can do. All right, this is all I need to do then. Megatron, I'm going to open it back up to you. There's loads of people trying to so Megatron, you take over, family. You take over.
Yes, so basically in the ancient world, this is according to Dr. Gary Habermas himself and an impeccable ancient historian. If there are two sources that testify to one event, that is enough to establish it as a fact. We have 11 sources coming from even hostile anti-Christian sources like Tacitus that testify that the crucifixion of Jesus happened. That is why the vast majority of scholars, I can probably only think of one scholar that believes Jesus did not die on the cross, and he's a mythicist. He believes Jesus never existed. But the vast amount of scholars, whether they're agnostic, atheist, Jewish, Christian, all are unanimous on this fact, right? And obviously, me appealing to scholars is not evidence. However, if 99% of biologists believe that the Earth is older than 10,000 years old, that's more likely to be correct. In the same way, if the vast majority of historians believe Jesus was crucified and he was dead, meaning his heart stopped working, his brain stopped functioning, and he was put in the tomb by Joseph of Arimathea, then I think I'm more likely to be correct. So I've got all of history on my side. I've got every single scholar of ancient antiquity on my side. I don't even know why we're arguing on this. Maybe, Kalam, you can have a show tomorrow. Is the moon made out of cheese, or are there a billion genders? Like, maybe we can argue that as well.
Well, Megatron, I don't think we're arguing anything. I think we're having a discussion. So, as you said, I believe Jesus was crucified. However, I do believe he may not have died on the cross. As you mentioned, Joseph of Arimathea, I think it's important to mention that he owned the tomb where Jesus was taken to. Now, there's a number of things that bring me to the conclusion that he didn't die. I'm quite open to the reason I might be wrong. That's fine. I can deal with that. However, if we look at stuff, simple things like when his body was washed and he was anointed with oils and stuff like that, herbs, they weren't herbs and oils that were used for cleansing a body after death in the Judaic tradition. They were herbs and oils that are used to heal. Even more so, if we go forward, there's a tomb within Kashmir, the Rose Ball tomb, which is said to be Jesus's final resting place. When he fled there allegedly with Joseph of Arimathea, he didn't flee on his own. He fled with a group of people from Palestine to Kashmir, and those people still exist today in Kashmir. And when you ask them about their tribal history, they say they were there from a wise spiritual man called Isa. So that's what kind of makes me believe that.
Yeah, that is absolutely
Kashmir.
Oh yeah, that is absolutely ridiculous. There is no historical evidence of that. This is literally a myth. It's not true. Also, you talked about if we read the works of Josephus, he said that the scourging, which the Romans did even before they put the person on the cross, he described their skin as mangled, as misshapen. His skin was hanging off their flesh. I don't know of any kind of ointment or rub in the ancient world that could heal flesh hanging off a bone with your intestines hanging out. We don't even have that kind of medicine in the 21st century, and we definitely didn't have it 2,000 years ago. Furthermore, the Roman centurions were expert killers. They knew when a person was dead, and so when they took down the body on the cross, after one of the Roman centurions, put a spear into the side of Jesus, and lots of blood and water gushed out, that was evidence for him that Jesus was dead. I don't care what kind of ointment or anything they put on, it is impossible to revive and heal a person who has literally been mashed up with a scourging whip, which had like massive chunks of nails that were like 4 inches deep that would get into your skin, and they would literally scourge it open and rip bits of flesh out every time you whipped it. Now, there are multiple sources on how many times the Roman centurions did, but it's between 40 to 120 times. And there was a law in ancient Rome that if you went one over that, then you would be punished with that. So they were experts. They knew exactly what they were doing. So, and again, the vast majority of scholarship, historians of all backgrounds, whether secular or religious, there are even a few Muslim scholars that now agree that Jesus was crucified and dead, such as Professor Reza Aslan. So again, the evidence is as indisputable as anything.
Okay, Megatron,
it's not even up for debate.
Okay, Megatron, could you please tell me how long was Jesus crucified for? If you could answer that for me, please. Was he crucified for an hour, a day? How long?
He was on the cross for 9
hours.
hours.
6 hours.
Okay, one gentleman saying 6 and Megatron saying 9. Do we have a definitive answer?
It wasn't 48, and that's how long it takes for someone to die on the cross. At least 48 hours. It wasn't 48.
So, Megatron, can I ask you where you got your source of how long he was crucified for, please? Okay, Megatron's gone quiet. Because as I understand
the New Testament record.
The New Testament record, is there a specific gospel you're referring to?
Sorry, that's right. It was 6 hours, and yeah, I apologize. It was 6 hours, and it's in all of the Gospels.
Okay, that's cool. In actual fact, it's not in all of the Gospels because each Gospel has a different recollection of the crucifixion, and this is my point. It wasn't for 48 hours. One of the Gospels even go so far as to say that the Roman centurion that stabbed Jesus in the side with the spear was actually in on the whole thing to get Jesus crucified, take him down to Joseph Arimathea's cave and heal him as best they can. Do you know the story about the sponge with the vinegar that's put up to his face to see if he's dead and alive? Do you know about that story?
Yeah, that was not to check if he was dead or alive. That was to give him some painkillers type thing.
Okay, why would you give somebody painkillers if
because there was a law in the Old Testament that says if someone is on the verge of death, make them drunk, so to alleviate their symptoms and pain.
Right. So who administered that? Do you know that by any chance?
It was one of the centurion guards.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I'm going to pass the mic on to somebody else. I think I've made my points and why I believe that he didn't die. But thank you.
I got something to say. I'm just curious why Christians find it so hard to believe that he may have survived the crucifixion, but will sort of accept that he, may have been brought back to life after 3 days by God. Like if God can bring someone back to life after 3 days, surely he could give man extra stamina to
Historically, no man survived the full Roman crucifixion.
And it's also against prophecy in the Old Testament.
Yeah, but I mean, like I just heard, I'm just asking because I heard like a, full scientific reason why a man couldn't survive crucifixion. But don't you believe?
Janish, not a full Roman crucifixion. We're talking about a full Roman crucifixion.
Could you describe a full Roman crucifixion?
Yes.
Yeah. Give me like a minute.
Yes. Punching, kicking in the face, putting a crown cross onto the face, also scourging them to almost death, making them carry a very large cross, and thirdly, crucifying them, and then they would eventually die from asphyxiation. And by the way, the gentleman said over there that, why do Christians are so blah, blah, blah. It's not just Christians, it's every single scholar of every single belief system, whether atheists like Professor Bart Ehrman, Professor Gert Ludemann, all of them are absolutely unanimous, indisputable fact, like Professor Robert Funk, Dominic Crossan, all of them unanimously agreed that Jesus was dead once they brought Jesus down from the cross. So
6 hours after they brought him down from the cross, he was dead. That doesn't make any sense to me because people died even before they were put on the cross. Never mind on the cross.
Let me finish.
Megatron, even in today's world, dead. That even today we still have people that are addicted to life. Happens all the time.
But
that's why I just find it confusing why you might argue against that.
Janesh, can I ask you which source you're getting this, or is it just subjective opinion?
Subjective, purely subjective. I mean, that's just the way my mind works. I just find it interesting that Christians who believe that that he was brought back after 3 days would.
It's just because you're going against history. You're going against history. I mean, from from Tacitus, Josephus, Tullius, Philly the Younger, Meribar Cyprian, Philogon, Lucian, Jewish Talmud, the Jewish Taldoth Jesu, all the New Testament documents, all these things claim Jesus died on the cross from Roman crucifixion. And then, the argumentation to some could be, well, he never died, which is a conjecture which isn't backed by anyone, or a 7th century man came up with the idea saying, no, he didn't, which he got from a 3rd century Gnostic gospel. So the proof of one side is the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and that he did die on that day.
History always changes. History always changes, and as we know it, we know that the post that he was crucified, supposedly crucified on, is set in the ground as a permanent fixture. And when we see movies of him, we see him carrying the cross, which is very suspicious, and the lies, the deception that they are telling us that they've been exposed to is it doesn't help their case. And we also, that's point one, and we also know that the primary purpose of crucifixion for the Jews is not to kill a criminal. This is according to the Express newspaper. The primary purpose of crucifixion is not to kill people. So the fact that you say that he was killed on the cross and all this, it goes against the primary purpose of putting someone up in the cross in the first place. And like I said, you haven't still answered you haven't still answered the other thing. The first thing that I said is that he was put on the cross for 6 hours. You said 9, I said 6, and then obviously we found out that I was correct and you was wrong. So how can someone die on the cross being put on for 6 hours when it takes 48 hours? You said that he was tortured and he was this and that before, but obviously that's just your opinion, and that's just your opinion. How much did they beat him? And like I said, crucifixion was not the method of capital punishment for the Romans. So the fact that it was supposed to be put up and dying on the cross, it won't make any sense. If we have a look at another thing, we always told that Pilate, the guy was the one. Pilate was the one who killed. Pilate was the one who ordered the person to be killed. But according to a lot of historical sources, we know that Pilate couldn't have crucified Jesus.
Harkarat, hear me? Harkarat, try and give everybody else a go on the mic, man. You're taking it up too much.
One last thing, we know that the Roman governor left Judea years before Jesus' death, so I think and there's a translation that they've been exposed to translate the words incorrectly as well. So what other things have they got wrong? That's suspicious. That's the question on my mind.
First of all, you're getting this from?
Sorry?
I think you're just pulling this out from somewhere. What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that how the Bible, the Christians have been exposed over and over again. Like, for example, the translation of the translations and it's suspicious to what else they got wrong.
Can you tell me exactly what is specific?
Okay, I'll give you an example. The place of the skull, they translated the place of the skull as Golgotha, and they've translated that to the place of the skull, and then later they translated it to Mount of Execution, which is totally different to that translation. So, and we know that the original sources wasn't written in English. It wasn't written in, it wasn't written in Hebrew. It was written in ancient Hebrew, and ancient Hebrew is Aramaic. And so,
first of all, it wasn't written in ancient Hebrew. It was written in Koine Greek. Number two, where are you getting this? That it was the Mount of Crucifixion? Did you say, or what? Which source is this? Where's this source from?
I'm reading from the Express newspaper.
From the Express newspaper. Wow. How about you read from the Sun page today? That's almost as reliable.
What the Sun newspaper said, yeah.
The Daily Mail, the Daily Sport.
Can anybody give me any historical fact? Is there any historical proof? You're talking about conjecture.
There is no proof. There is no proof. There is evidence. There is evidence. There is evidence to say that he died, and there's evidence to say he didn't die. But there's no 100% definitive proof.
Yes,
can't
there
even
is
prove, you can't even prove
100%.
whether it's a real character. You can't even prove whether it's a real historical character for starters. That's the first thing. So if you can't prove that he's a
Exactly.
historical
I
character,
agree.
you
I
can't
agree.
prove anything else.
Of
got
course
nothing-
we
you
can
haven't
prove
got
that he's a
elected
historical character.
You haven't got
And the
elected
Quran, there's no doubt. There's no doubt in the Quran. That's certain.
Listen, who cares about your Quran? It was written 600 years after the time of Jesus, and it's got a lot of pagan and Gnostic literature in it, and it's been
And
corrupted
the Bible
changed.
doesn't. And the Bible doesn't.
Listen,
That's your opinion.
okay, show me the New Testament where it borrows from pagan literature.
No. Listen.
If you say that they copied, if
Hello.
you
We're
say
going
that
away from the topic. We're going away from the topic. We asked you for some evidence where you're getting your sources from.
I want historical proof. That's what I want. Give me some historical proof.
No. We gave. Hello, Ricky. We gave you historians. We gave you Bart Ehrman. We gave you people that have nothing to gain.
Physical proof.
Okay, Ricky, I'll tell you.
I'm giving you the testimony of 40% of the British, of the UK intellectual investigation that say that
If there's a murder, you need a murder weapon. All right.
with all
Give me some
You
proof.
historian.
Hold on, guys.
Historian?
Yo, guys, let's take it one at a time.
go on.
Make your point quickly. Harakat. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name.
Accurate, yeah.
Yeah, Harakat. Have you finished your point? Yeah. All right, Ricky, grab the mic.
Yeah, I just want, like I said, if there's a murder, they want a body and they want a murder weapon. Provide me anything like that to do with Jesus and the whole crucifixion shit.
Okay, but do you know, like they've got people like Joseph Arimathea, who they can still see his records of his sales because he was a merchant. He'd done trade all over the world. There's records of him, so him as a historical character can be proved. So you can also prove that Jesus was a historical character from that. But that's what I would say.
From the Babylonian Talmud that was around AD. They speak of that, and that's another evidence, factual evidence.
Why, for example, why does the Septuagint talk about resurrection?
Julius Africanus quotes it. That's another historical evidence. Lucian of Samosata, that's another. That's from the 2nd century. That's another evidence. So we're giving you all these evidence, and we're just asking
something
for
from the
one.
2nd century. Something from the 2nd century is not
My
evidence,
friend,
man.
I gave you from 852 AD.
Hello?
I gave
Ricky?
you from 52. Hello? Ricky, let's hold on a little bit. Ricky, I gave you, sir, from 52 AD, but you chose to ignore that. I gave you from another, from the 1st century. Hello, sir?
That's not evidence. 52 years after the fact.
Okay, because I'm giving you deep evidence, people outside of the Bible. I can give you his companions and his people, but I'm not doing that. That's too easy. I'm giving you people that have nothing to gain from Christianity. I'm giving you these evidence.
Also, as well,
it's not acceptable.
Ricky, can I?
These are real people.
Hello?
It's like we know. We know. My friend. Da Vinci was around 1,000 years ago, and we know Da Vinci. We know he was around. These are real historical figures. We know Prophet Muhammad was around.
That's the difference.
Hold on. Let Christian Malik. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I was just speaking.
It was me. Can I just say to Ricky, if are you looking for 1st century evidence for Jesus of Nazareth, or 2nd century, or?
I'm looking for first 10 minutes. Jesus
Okay.
history.
Okay. Well, that's the New Testament.
His followers, his mum.
Let me speak. That's the New Testament, but you decline that, okay?
Yeah,
so we'll go.
That.
Okay, so we'll go Tullius, who's 52 AD. We'll go Philia the Younger, who's 61 AD. We'll go with Josephus, which is 60 AD. We'll go with the Talmud, which is in the 1st century, 90 AD. We'll go with Mary Bar Cephrion, which is 70 AD.
Babylonian Talmud.
I don't accept.
We gave you like 6. I know, sir. We gave you like 6 different evidences.
This is joke business.
Do you want to accept that? We gave you 6 different evidences.
I don't accept it. I don't accept it.
Okay.
Listen,
But then the other evidence, sir, Ricky, the other evidence that we can give you.
My friend, you are historical illiterate.
No, you are a historical moron.
Listen,
You believe in something based on nothing.
Alright, guys, one at a time. Listen, one at a time. Yeah, Megatron, grab the mic.
Listen, right? Jesus is the most well attested, well, apart from Josephus, is the most well attested first century Jew ever, right? And also we know that that surrounding the crucifixion, there are a few facts. One of them is that all of the disciples fled. Historians use this as fact of this event happening using something called the criterion of embarrassment, that the church would not have made up this story because it was embarrassing to their cause, that Jesus' disciples all fled him and all forsook him like he was some kind of criminal. Also, we have unanimous consensus, even by Jesus' enemies, that he was crucified, by the Romans, and also by the Christians. There was no doubt amongst these three groups that Jesus was crucified. And again, like I'm saying, 99.9% of historians, even atheist ones like Bart Ehrman, Gert Ludemann, Francesca Stavrakopoulou, I can go on and on. They are all unanimously agreed that the crucifixion of Jesus Christ is the most well attested historical fact that we know about Jesus. And if we let me finish. If we apply the same standard that you're applying to Jesus, we would literally say that the vast majority of ancient figures in the ancient world never even existed, because you're setting such a radically and stupidly high threshold for reason for you to believe that Jesus existed.
Megatron, I can't allow you to make up such lies. You're saying that about 99% of historians say that he was crucified, but about 40% of the historians are Muslim and Jews and from other faiths. So that's a lie. You're trying to say that
We can get to the Quran. We can get to the Quran in
and
a
I
bit.
just want to ask you one very important
Don't worry,
question.
we'll go to the Quran in a bit.
If you don't mind muting your mics if you're not speaking. So to the Christians out there, you believe that Jesus is God. I just wanted to say that. If I say to you, there's not one person, there's three persons but one person, or three football teams but one football team, there's three hats but one hat, three baseball teams but
My
one
friend,
baseball
you're
team.
doing a Zakir icon us, and you're moving on with the debate. Let's stick to the crucifixion. You're doing a Zakir icon.
We're going on to Trinity, which we can debate, but we'll do it another day. This is the crucifixion of Christ.
Yeah, but I think it's not going to get anywhere. It's just a different matter of opinion. But I want to expose you. I want to expose you by your replies that you get.
Okay, my friend. Before Allah created the universe or anything in the universe, angels or whatever, who did Allah speak to?
He spoke to him. He thought in.
Let's not get off topic. This is
stupid. Let's not do this. Let's stick to the crucifixion, please.
Okay, can I just first of all say something? Yeah, using the Quran as a source is complete. No scholar in the world will ever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to use the Quran as a source.
Just let the man speak.
Let me finish, please. Using the Quran as a source is completely illegitimate. If we read the Sunni hadiths, we come to the conclusion that the Quran has been severely corrupted. For example, in Ibn Majah, there's a hadith where the Prophet's wife was so preoccupied with his death that a tame sheep came in and ate 2 chapters in the Quran. Literally, a lamb biryani is more powerful than your God, right? So the Quran's been corrupted. We can throw it away.
Let's keep it on the crucifixion.
Let's keep it on the topic, guys, because this is what he wants to do. He wants to divert.
Yeah, let's keep it on the crucifixion. So talking about the crucifixion, did God die on the cross, or did the man die on the cross?
Now you're doing a straw man fallacy. Okay, you obviously don't understand Christian theology, where we have hypostatic union, just like your Gnostic illiterate prophet who had no idea what we believe. Okay, we have humanity.
So I'm asking you.
Okay. Let me get everybody to just mute their mics. I went up for 1 hot second, tried to relax, tried to grab some gel off, tried to sit back and just have a little munch. But I see that, we need to, have a moderator in the building who's keeping an eye on what's going on. Okay. Brother Gabs, how you doing? Medicine man, what you saying, King?
Yo, what's happening?
There. So you saying you see the chaos descending and you ain't saying nothing?
Bro, I was just listening to the chaos. Bro, I don't, you know me, bro. I don't even chime in on that chaos, bro. You know what I mean? I just let the brothers, hash it out and, get their points across. I just lead them to it, really. And then chime in when chiming is needed.
All right. Say nothing. All right. This is what I'm going to do then, okay? I want to see. So from my individuals that say that Jesus didn't die from crucifixion, I would like to know, where are you getting that information from? What's the earliest source that makes reference to that information? Or where is the impetus for this idea in history? So I'm going to open it up to, who likes to open up the mic first? Non-Christian, okay? Non-Christian. Where did you get this idea?
So my thinking is working backwards from Kashmir. So if you follow the trail backwards from Kashmir, that's my thinking. I'm always open to I only use it as a hypothesis. I don't use that as an actual fact. I don't say that's a fact. Jesus didn't die on the cross. That is an alternative.
Where did the Kashmir hypothesis originate? Do you know?
I'm not. I can find out if you want me to, but the building still exists. The statue of Jesus and his feet with the relevant scars still exist. The tribe still exists. The records of Joseph Arimathea's trading still exist. So there's evidence there to prove a certain thing. Whether it's true or false, it's up for debate. But that's
can I just say something? May I just
no, Megatron, no. Okay, so again, I'm gonna wait for Buddha to come back to see when is the earliest mention of this Kashmir tomb of Isa or Jesus. Okay, I'm gonna wait for that one. So I'm gonna see, anybody else would like to give me where did your idea of Jesus not dying on the cross originate? So hierarchy right.
Yeah, respect, man. I just want to say, obviously, I'm not that well educated, and I don't have all the references and historical sources, references for this. But according to a lot of honest people, sincere people like Osho, he's like a guru, and he's got like 10,000 followers, and he's built his own city and everything, and he's an honest person. He says it, and the Quran as well, something as well. Prophet Muhammad said one time, he said, I'm not from India, but I have India in my heart. He said, I have India in my heart. And then like 10 minutes later, I find out that his body was stolen from his tomb when he finally became conscious, and then he woke up, and then he decided to go Kashmir, and he died at the age of 112 in Kashmir. And I have all these sources telling me this, and then it makes me think, well, why should I believe what the Bible says? The same Bible.
Can you tell us the name of the source, please?
Yeah. I told you Osho was one of them, and he's like a trusted person. He's like a guru, and so I'm saying that, and then it makes me think, why should I believe?
You said he's got 10,000 followers. So is this man alive today?
If you don't mind me finishing, is the same book which says, sell your cloak and buy. I came not to spread peace, but I came to bring the sword. And so he says to his disciples, everyone sell your cloak, sell your jacket, and buy a sword. And then as you speak to the Christians, what do you mean? And the Christians, they say, oh, he did it. The sword, it means a word. It means word.
Listen, man, I'm not trying to be sly, but you're literally like...
No, I'm not. The SWORD. They say someone was eating spaghetti and they dropped the spaghetti and it became an S, and then it became sword, not word.
You absolute idiot.
How do you sell your cloak?
I think this is the thing, guys.
Last thing.
Can we get some Muslims on? Can we get some real Muslims on? Because this guy's making you look bad.
Kieran, you know where he's getting this from? He's getting this from a retarded lecture by Yusuf Estes. Go on YouTube, look it up now. Bro, Yusuf Estes is a known liar about Christianity. He said the Catholic Church existed 300 years before Jesus. He made that story up.
Megatron, before you continue, I just want to know something, okay? What is the earliest source for Jesus's death and crucifixion that Christians have?
Okay, so I'm going to use Professor Bart Ehrman. This comes from 1 Corinthians 15, which, according to Professor Bart Ehrman, is after 1 year after the crucifixion of Jesus. So well within all the eyewitness accounts. 1 Corinthians 15 says that Jesus was crucified. This is our early source, merely 1 year after the event, which is in ancient historical terms absolutely amazing. It's unprecedented. Nothing even comes close to it.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so we have, possibly 1 AD, but the book of Corinthians itself, when is that actually dated?
The actual book of Corinthians probably between 45 to 55 AD. However, according to scholars, and I can quote a few, 1 Corinthians 15 is a creed that it was passed down, and its origination came from 1 year after Jesus' crucifixion.
No problem. Perfect. Okay. So I want to know, does my, Muslims or non-Christians have any date that is similar to that? Do they? For the claims of Jesus not being crucified or not being killed. As far as I'm aware, the first claim in that respect, okay, I'm not talking about a docetic claim, I'm talking about not being killed or crucified, seems to arise during the rise of Islam. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems as though that the first claim happened in the 7th century. Okay, if you've got any other information that predates that, okay, minus the docetic claims, okay, please let me know.
Callum, I would say it was before 7th century. It was probably among the 3rd century where these Gnostic Gospels started mostly booming off, where Christ was not it did not die, but was replaced. And we actually find this, just like the Quran, in a Gnostic Gospel from the 3rd century called the Second Treatise of the Great Seth. And this is a Gnostic Gospel which was found in Egypt not too long ago, actually. And it says, and in quotes, "For my death, which they think happened to them in their error and blindness, since they nailed their man unto their death, it was another, their father, who drank the gall and the vinegar. It was not I. They struck me with the reed. It was another." And that's the quote from that Gnostic Gospel. And that's dating 3rd century. So the Quran, in my conclusion, in my hypothesis, which I really do believe, the Quran took this quotation to match their presupposition.
Kalam, I just emailed you. Personally, I don't believe anything the Quran has to say in regards to Jesus in that fashion. Anyway, simply because of this, if Jesus arising from the dead and from the cross is a fundamental tenet within Christianity. If the Quran doesn't acknowledge that, then they don't acknowledge his divinity. So therefore, why do they classify him as a prophet? Do you understand? So there's a little bit of an issue there, in my understanding.
Right.
I have reference. I have reference now. If you don't mind me quoting them.
Yeah, get that Zakir Naik reference. We'll all be looking forward to see it.
No, it's not. It's not. Firstly, yeah. Oh, this is going to be cheesy, but one of the references is the Quran itself. Is the Quran itself? That's one first. Yeah. Now the other references I want to say. The other references.
Make sure you quote from the Book of Mormon afterwards. Book of Mormon, quote from that as well.
We have the Quran. We have the Quran is a reference itself. We have another one. William Smith, a Christian. William Smith, a Christian. He according to the he says according to the writings, Alex. Sorry, man, I've lost it, man.
Listen, if this guy is trolling, bro, you need to bounce him because, talking about spaghetti and stuff like that is borderline blasphemous.
I'll come back in. I'll come back in. I'll write him down and I'll come back in. You speak for now, if you don't mind.
According to Google, William Smith is an actor.
There's many William Smiths. You speak about your evidence, and then I'll...
Okay. Hacker Kirat. What does the Quran say? Because you said the Quran says something. Can you tell us what the Quran says? Maybe read it out.
What he was neither. I haven't actually mentioned it. What did he say? Regarding he wasn't crucified nor killed on the cross, and it was made to make it appear so that it was someone else, but it was made to appear like it was Christ.
Yeah, we're gonna have to read it from the beginning to get any emphasis on it.
So let me get this straight. Your God is a deceptive being who has damned 2.5 billion Christians to hell. Thank you very much, Allah. Very gracious, very kind.
Okay. Yeah, that's another problem I had was as Buddha said, the crucifixion is a fundamental belief in a Christian faith and the resurrection, and only 650 years later, so more than half of 1,000 years, God is like, oh, okay. Oh, okay, let me tell them. Okay, Jesus didn't actually die. So all them people who lived for 600 years, how did they get to heaven? So why did Allah allow them to commit shirk for all these years?
Was Allah on a holiday at Butlins for 600 years?
Yeah, I think Allah couldn't be bothered. He was too busy looking after the Houris.
Okay, let's not insult Christians, my brothers, yeah?
Speak and
religions, please.
Yeah, I was just about to say we need to speak and have a debate without being rude about people's religion.
Yeah, to the Christians, that goes to the Christians because they're being insulting right now.
No, I'm a Christian and I'm telling them to stop in it. We're recognizing and they're not arguing back, so they know as well.
Well, at least I'm not being stupid.
I'm giving my opinion.
Yeah, but you do realize your opinion's a bit like trolling when you're talking about things we're seeing in spaghetti and stuff like. What are you talking about, man?
No, because honestly, you're not giving me the response.
He got this from
Yusuf Estes. I came to not bring peace, but I came to bring the sword. Why do you tell me that? What's your response? Is it a word?
Listen. Even that's irrelevant to this topic.
I'll answer that, but let's stick with the topic. And after the topic, I will, no problem, my friend. I'll answer that. Okay.
Thank you, cousin. Thank you for that, man. Meanwhile, I'm gonna write the references down, so I'm not scrolling up and down. I'm gonna write and give it to you in one go.
Right. And another thing, I would like to respond to something that Buddha said.
Buddha, outside of the Bible, can anybody find any references to anybody being nailed to a cross outside of the Gospels?
Yes, Josephus. Next question.
There isn't any. There's talk of crucifixion, but there's no talk of anybody else actually being physically nailed to a wooden post.
Okay.
In the Roman government, they've been doing this.
No, they've been crucifying, but not nailing people. The Gospels is the only place where they actually nail somebody.
Okay. Bro, I think we've got.
Hold on. Can I get you guys to mute your mics, please? Can I get you guys to mute your mics? Mute your mics, okay? I've got a special guest that's coming on right now. So please just give him the respect for him to actually have his voice. Yeah. So, of course, I've got my brother from SoCo Films right now. You know, you guys may know him, may have seen him at Speaker's Corner. He's taken over Jay Smith's position as one of the foremost voices of Christianity and polemics at Speaker's Corner right now. And of course, I'm talking about my beloved brother, my brother. Wow, everybody's just gone off. My brother, Bob the Builder is on here with us. Yeah, you already know it's going to be powerful. So, Bob, you know, the mic is open for you.
Peace to all the brethren and greetings to everyone else. Kalam, thanks for that brilliant introduction. You make me sound like a boxer, mate. Just on this issue of the crucifixion, looking at it just from a religious studies academic point, there seems to be an understanding that the central and core claim of any religious worldview is authentic in its origin. So let me lay out what that means. So, for example, the 5 pillars of Islam, even though they are not laid out very clearly in the Quran, are quite possibly and and most certainly rooted in Muhammad's practices. Likewise, the claim that Christ was crucified and resurrected, whether you believe it to be a fact or not, is most certainly an authentic and original belief of the very first Christians. And the reason why we know that is because even groups like the Ebionites, who were condemned by Christians like myself, right back in the first century, also believed that Christ was crucified, even though they denied the virgin birth. And they believed that he was the Messiah. They believed that he was born of a union of Joseph and Mary. They believed that he was just a man, that he wasn't God. And they also believed that he rose from the dead. And they believed that he died on a cross. So when you've got groups like the Ebionites, who were not Christians, splintering off from the church, who obviously are Christians, and both of those groups are saying that Christ was crucified, then you have Roman historians like Josephus and Tacitus talking about the crucifixion. You have Jewish source, Josephus was a Jewish source, but he was also a Roman source as well. You have historians of the time talking about Christ's crucifixion. Then you have the writings of the church fathers, such as Justin Martyr, Polycarp. Polycarp was a disciple of John the Apostle, as well as the New Testament documents, which themselves are first century documents written by the emergent church, written to themselves, by themselves, and about themselves, and what they believed. And you've got things like 1 Corinthians 15, which is quoting an extremely early creed. The evidence is simply overwhelming to talk about the crucifixion as a historical fact, and that is why even atheist and agnostic scholars, such as Bart Ehrman, who makes a living out of attacking the Christian faith and discrediting the Bible, he himself believes in the crucifixion. It is simply an untenable position to argue what the Quran says with regards to it being a reliable source about Christ not being crucified, but there are deeply troubling theological implications of the Quranic position. One, it makes God a deceiver. That is deeply troubling, because if Allah is not trustworthy, if he has lied, then that means he wouldn't be good enough to be in a chain of hadiths, to give an authentic hadith chain. And if that's true, well, if you can't trust him as a source, that means you can't trust the Quran, according to Islamic logic, not my logic, that's Islamic logic. And finally, in the second part of the surah and ayah that we're talking about, it states that the people of the first century should be in doubt and conjecturing about what happened to Jesus. But the historical evidence is quite the opposite. There's universal opinion that Christ was crucified and died, which contradicts what the Quran says, and the only group that we see conjecturing and having any doubt about what actually happened to the Christ are Muslims from the 7th century onwards, who come up with multiple and different theories trying to explain an ayah in the Quran which is unclear and vague, despite the Quran claiming to be a clear exposition of all things. For me, this is an obvious reason to reject the Quran, and an obvious reason to take the claims of the gospel seriously, because they segue perfectly into other historical counts outside of the Bible. That's my point.
Wow. Is there any coming back from that? I don't know. Is there any coming back from that?
Something, please.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead and add something.
Right. So, Bob, I'm coming for reinforcements this summer. We're going to give these Salafis a hell of a time. And also, let's take, for example, Tacitus. Tacitus, even according to Professor Robert Van Voest, again, who's one of the top Tacitian scholars out there, he said Tacitus was one of the greatest Roman historians of the ancient world. And he absolutely loathed Christians. However, he said of this certain character, Christus, who was crucified. Now you have to realize that. Tacitus hated Christianity, and the Christians were preaching that Jesus was crucified. The Apostle Paul said the crucifixion of Jesus is a stumbling block because this is what we stress our point of, that our Messiah has been killed. And this would have been a very embarrassing fact for the first century Jews. However, the Christians rejoiced in that. And so Tacitus, if he had the opportunity to shut these pesky Christians up who were making a nuisance of themselves, he would have simply said, this Jesus was a myth. He was never crucified. However, he didn't say that because even though he hated Christianity and he hated Christians, he still accepted the crucifixion of Jesus. So again, we have hostile sources from the 1st century AD that were eminent historians of that time that agreed that Jesus was crucified. What more evidence? We have hostile sources, we have non-hostile sources, we have early eyewitness accounts, we have everything that we need to have to establish this as an indisputable fact of history on the same level as the Battle of Hastings taking place or anything else. Thank you.
Wow. As you can tell, I'm actually still eating. But is anybody there to come back on this? To me, it seems as though it's case closed. I might be wrong. Somebody can come back.
Yeah, I'd like to ask Mr. Bob, if possible, if he's still there. Is he gone? Okay, not there. Can I ask you to share some of your chicken that you're yamming on camera in front of everyone? All right then. Answer. I'm sorry, not answer. Megatron. So, can you put any credence to the Kashmir story at all, or is it complete
let me
myth
tell
and
you about
conjecture?
that.
Go ahead.
It's a complete myth, like completely and utterly mythological in its very nature. You have to realize that the leader of the Ahmadiyya movement, what his name, Mirza Ghulam or something like that, he claimed to be Jesus, and that's where the belief originated from. And so, yeah, it's completely mythological. Listen, brother, like, even if you're an atheist or an agnostic, you do not need to take a supernaturalist approach on this, right?
Yeah.
This doesn't mean Christianity is true. It doesn't mean anything like this. All this means is that Jesus was crucified in the 1st century AD. And a lot of atheists have a problem with this. You know, the layman atheists on the internet. However, the vast majority of atheist scholars, atheist historians, atheists like Bart Ehrman, as Bob said, who makes a living preaching against Christianity, they all unanimously agree that Jesus was crucified and they're living their life as normal. So you don't need to come up with these, my brother, these crazy skeptical views that, you know what I mean?
No, I'm not skeptic in the slightest. I do acknowledge Christ was crucified. However, I acknowledged that for many years. In fact, I was an atheist for many years. It just though you're talking about the Ahmadiyya guy. Okay, fine, but the place, the temple or the place of rest existed before him, and the statue inside it existed before him as well. So this is, I'm not silly. I do take everything, every kind of piece of evidence and add it together. There is a clear trail there.
Okay, Buddha.
But it could be, yes, sir.
I've got Bob back on the line again. So if you've got any questions for him, I'll make sure to have him respond straight away.
Okay, I'll ask him the same question that I asked Mr. Megatron. Hello, Mr. Bob, can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah, he said yes.
Hello, sir. So, are you familiar with the story of Jesus escaping after the crucifixion and going to Kashmir?
I've heard of that story.
I can barely hear you. Sorry, could you say that again?
I've heard of that
Was that
story.
yes?
Yeah,
okay. Cool. Can you add any credence to that story at all?
Can I add credence to that story? No, there's no reason to believe that story is true. It's very late in terms of its origins, I can't say exactly the date, but I know that there's no record of it, certainly from 1 to the 7th century.
Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you.
That's it.
Any other questions before I go to bed?
I guess that's it. Any more questions? Now, anybody on the panel that has any last dying questions to ask Bob before he goes to bed? Okay.
Yeah.
Fucking
What's his view on the Shroud of Turin? Because Brother Buddha asked me about that, and as a Christian, I really don't know, but there's a lot of evidence being done on it. I just wanted to know, like, what you feel about it.
Sorry, what was the question, Callum?
the Shroud of Turin. Is it legitimate or is it a hoax, basically?
My personal opinion, obviously God knows best, but I think that the Shroud of Turin is a beautiful piece of art. It is described by the church not as a relic, which means that the church is saying that it's not authentic. The church describes it as an icon, which means that the church is saying that it is a beautiful piece of art as well. The church obviously had doubts about its authenticity, and so it always has described it as an icon, not as a relic. And I mean, the tests on it have carbon dated it to being too late for it to be a first century. However, I think whoever did it was a genius, and we should enjoy it as art and use it in the same way that we use all other religious art as a window to draw us closer to God.
Perfect. Excellent.
Can I add something on that?
Wait, before you do, Megatron, is there anybody else would like to ask Bob a question before he goes? Okay.
I just want to say thank you to Bob. You know,
Excellent.
I wanted to give the references because there's
Yeah,
so
because
many.
they don't exist. That's why you can't give the references.
No, I can. I'm writing. I'm trying to decipher film. It's so overwhelming that it's
No, it's cool, brother. There's no need for that. Trust me.
I'm surprised that I found it, but obviously if I can give the references, or I can ask him a question and then give the references. It's up to Titans.
Yeah, Callum, can I just quickly say while Bob's there, I would like to say thank you for his presence at the park. I think he's a very good representative for his religion, and I admire him.
Definitely. Right. I think a lot of us over here, regardless of our faith or denomination, really love what Bob is doing, really holding it down for the Christian community and really holding it down for just pure logical, breakdowns. Like, just, Bob is amazing. I can't even keep singing Bob's praise enough. So, shouts out to my brother Bob, and hopefully we'll see each other this week. I know, Bob. I know you're gonna be saying something to me soon. But yeah, family, it's late. It's late.
Ah, Kalam.
Yeah.
Is Bob gone? Yeah.
No, he's still here. He's still here.
I just wanted to ask Bob just a quick question. Yeah. Is my question to him is it's different. Well, it's different from obviously the topic, but it's related to Jesus. It's basically does he believe Jesus is returning to the earth?
Okay. Do you believe that Jesus will return?
Yeah.
To this earth?
You do, yeah.
Sorry.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
He does, yeah. Okay. I just wanted to ask that question. Maybe that'll be another discussion we have on another show.
Yeah, if I can quickly jump in, we have some Christians that to say that he was crucified. If you have a look at Docetism, it's a Christianity. They believe that the Catholics call them heretics, but they actually believe that Christ was not crucified. They have the writings from someone called Adversus Heraeus. He writes that by priest Irenaeus, who was in the year 115, he refers to some guy called Basilides. I can't pronounce it properly. And they both say that according to a historian in Alexandria at that time who they met, insisted that in his writings that he was not crucified, and this is in the year 130. He maintained that someone else by the name of Simon of Cyrene had been crucified, and God had miraculously altered the appearance to resemble Jesus. And this is in William Smith, a Dictionary of Christian Biography, Volume 1, page 768.
Okay.
You have Clement of Alexandria, in the year 150.
Kalam,
He
shut this
claimed,
kid up.
Hold on.
Which Islamic website is this from, brother?
Thank you very much. I'm just going to let Bob respond to that real quickly. Claim.
I'll be honest, I didn't hear everything clearly over the phone. However, I picked up that a source was being quoted that is dated to 130 AD. And my response to that is that the church was founded in around 33 AD, and the church very clearly proclaimed Christ crucified and Christ resurrected, and that the New Testament was written and completed by 90 AD, which predates the 130 source that has just been quoted. So obviously you would trust the earlier source rather than the later source. And
I would say that.
Can I make a quick point?
Which is that if in a hadith chain you wouldn't trust someone who was known to be a liar, and in the Quran it says that Allah deceived the world, or at least that's how Muslims have interpreted that verse down through the centuries. If you can't trust the source, if you can't trust someone who's known to be deceptive, how can we trust the Quran to be a reliable source? From hadith science, we would have to say it isn't. Whereas the Gospels were not written in the sense of like a documentary or a scientific textbook. They were written out of the living experience of the eyewitnesses that was imprinted upon the first community that was the church, that Paul was writing to in his letters, and he was writing to them about Christ crucified and resurrected, which obviously presumes the fact that they believe that Christ was crucified and resurrected. Paul wrote to the church in Rome about this, but Paul did not found the church in Rome.
Thank you.
Can I add an additional point, please?
All right. Good night, Bob. Okay. Megatron, I'm going to allow you to speak, but it's getting late and we need to switch it up and go to bed.
Okay, just 30 seconds, right? Regarding this guy Basilides, who came along in the mid-2nd century AD, he was the father of Gnosticism. What he believed is that God was a demon and that the physical reality of this world was demonic. So Jesus did not have a physical body, so it appeared. And so he based his argument why Jesus didn't die not on any historical evidence, but rather of his own theological Gnostic opinions, which clouded his judgment on who the historical Jesus was. And he claimed that, for example, that Moses, Abraham, all these people were unenlightened because they had a physical flesh. Only Jesus was the enlightened one because he escaped from the material desires of this world. So this guy Basilides came to that conclusion because of his own theological reasoning. And so he invented this story, not because of any historical facts.
Okay, if you don't quickly mind me saying, refuting that, you're saying that in the year 33 is when the church was founded. I just wanted to say that obviously his disciples, had they not fled, so how would they have known? It would have been all speculation. And as from what I can hear from you guys, it's nothing but speculation and assumptions. And then you're making this out to be a fact. You're saying you believe in this and that and this, and then you're going to the Quran saying that the Quran is this and that. And I think it's it's a tactic which a lot of Christians use, from assumption to saying that
Even tell us what the Quran says.
The other sect, the other sect known as you have another sect
You know, he's only
called
Googled this tonight and he's reading from the first page that comes on Google. Very scholarly.
the Hermetic Gnostic sect
Oh my
that deny
goodness
the
me.
crucifixion of
Wow.
Jesus and of taught that he was not crucified but was made to seem so. And again in the year 520, you have Severus, you have a bishop of Syria who fled to Alexandria, where he encountered a group of philosophers teaching that Jesus was not crucified but was made to appear so. And there's
Islamic
another
website are you
Bishop
getting this
John.
information
You have
from?
Bishop John in 610. Bishop John in 610, the governor of Cyprus, he began to proclaim that Christ was not crucified, but it had made to seem so. You have Faris al-Qawarani, was Christ
For the
really
love of
crucified?
God.
And that's the source. 4th century. You have
Okay.
you have another source teaching that Jesus.
All right, thank you. It's late. It's late for me. Okay, it's late for me. There's so many different citations and so forth and so forth, and it's a long one. Okay, I know that it could be a very very interesting conversation, but I fear that it's not going to be a very fruitful conversation. Reason being, I don't think everybody here is clued up on the issue itself and these sources, including individuals who are bringing up these sources, to know exactly what the books themselves are stating in regards to what I don't want to go down that path. I'm too tired to be doing that right now. So family. There was a third topic that we wanted to get discussed on here, but it's reached, it's too late. It's too late for me to actually discuss it. Let me quickly bring it up for you guys. Okay. Let's see, share screen. Okay. So sharing screen. Okay. If you haven't actually checked out some of these shows, okay, please go ahead and check out some of these shows. All right. Okay, so we got this one here. Are the British police scared of Muslims? Okay, this was a very, very interesting, topic that was brought up. We don't actually have enough time to go through it, but maybe next time. We'll go through it. And I was very, I'm very saddened, okay, by the lengths that certain groups of individuals here will go to, okay. And the type of comments they will leave and so forth and so forth. Yeah, it's really nasty. I'm not even gonna lie, it's kind of nasty, as you can quite clearly see. Pure like little, out of the name baboon, snake. What else do we have here? House Negro, all of them madness. Yeah, and it's coming from a certain group of people. And I'm actually gonna blow you guys up because it is actually coming from the Muslim community. Okay, and I'm gonna be really honest with you because I always try to help you guys in a sense and not actually stick it on you. But I'm going to say this, yeah, you do realize, yeah, you guys are the reason why, yeah, there are people like Sarah Garvey. You lot are the reason why, yeah, there are people like Tommy Robinson, yeah, and you lot, yeah, are really, really trying my patience, yeah. You are really trying my patience, yeah, with you guys. Okay, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna be very, very real with you guys. You are trying my patience, and if you don't want me to blow up on you, yeah, I suggest, yeah, you lot just calm down a bit. Calm down. Okay, I'm doing my very best here to not actually open my mouth here and speak about your issues. Okay, because if I open my mouth here and I speak about your issues, yeah, it's gonna be peak for you. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. So just calm down, be easy, man. Be easy. Because I don't want your trouble. I don't want your trouble. And I'm sure you don't want my trouble. I'm very, very sure you don't want my trouble. So just leave it alone, B. Okay? If you don't like it, don't need to troll. All right? Just don't troll. Just be easy. See it, don't like it, move on. Yeah? Because it can go south really quick for you guys. And I don't think you understand that. So just be easy. Anyways, yeah. Kalam, how can I join the discussion? Okay, it's very simple. All you have to do is go and email me. And email me. That's what you have to do. Email me. All of the information is in the description box. Email me, and then you can get the link to come on to the show. That's all you guys got to do. But right now, yeah, I'm too tired for all of that. I'm really, really too tired for all of that. And I want to go into my bed. It's 2:00 in the morning almost. So what I'm going to do right now is close down the show. And hopefully you guys who's on the panel here can continue this discussion for a little bit longer. as well. I'm also going to try to split the show in half. Okay. I'm going to try to split the show in half. Rich Kid, please check your email. I'm sure I did actually email you back with the link. Okay, so the link should have been posted back to you. Yep, it was at 1:02 a.m. So please go on to your email address and you will find the link posted to you. But right now I'm closing up, so I will see you guys a little bit later on. Someone says, "Eat then sleep, you get fat, mate." Trust me, I'm putting on some. Look at the cheeks. Look at the cheeks. Look at the podgy belly. I'm putting on some good weight here, yeah, and I'm kind of nice with it, real nice with it. If you saw I was eating just some jollof chicken, some salad, and some rice, hey, listen. Anyways, yeah. Anyways, let me go sleep. Family, I'll see you guys on the other side. I'll see you guys on the other side. I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace and love. Hopefully tomorrow we can get another show popping as well. If you've got any suggestions here for shows, please, all you need to do is drop me a suggestion inside of the comment section, or drop me a suggestion inside of my email, and then we'll get something popping for you. Okay. All right. Yeah. We were live, baby. We live. We lit, baby. We lit. Oh man. So I'll see you guys on the other side. Hopefully I should be up Birmingham soon. I'm trying to make it up into Birmingham. So if you guys want to link up with me, if you're in Birmingham, let me know. I'm supposed to get a nice little interview going on up there as well. So you never know, you'll see me in a town near you. Just let me know if you lot are free and we can get something popping. But yeah, love. Farhan Qureshi's in the building. Love, my brother. Love. Please, again, go check out Farhan Qureshi's channel. All right, he's in the chat right now. Farhan Qureshi. Okay, go check him out and subscribe to his channel as well. All right, family, peace and love. I'll see you guys on the other side.